I'm interested in writing and film and the arts. I was born in Spokane, Washington, and I moved to Long Island, New York, where the entire rest of my family was when I was 3 years old. So I think Pokemon taught me how to read. I remember being like 4 years old and knowing what atrocious meant because Gyarados was the atrocious Pokemon in the Pokedex. So I just like to collect as much information as possible. I remember reading like every little post sign in the game, and I had every conversation with every non-playable character. And I almost had the mind to combine an English major with like a cognitive science major because I think that the narrative form is how you conceive of yourself and how you conceive of your life story. It's always in some sort of narrative where you are the main character. And my favorite stories growing up, they were described in such a way that put words to feelings or emotions or experiences that you had no idea how to articulate. And that's what I try to do when I write. I don't know if I always accomplish it. It's a pretty hefty task. What inspires me more often is creative work in areas that I don't understand as much, like musicians. I don't know anything about music, but I can be very moved by musical pieces. In terms of my research interests, I'm really kind of a sponge. I think I go for things that have some sort of shock value to them. I'm very much a product of my going viral age. That includes my internet monk phase. Many of you might know one of the central tenets of taking the monk class is a month without any access to technology. The monk class and wasting time on the internet taught me that we're all kind of 4 years old on the inside. One of my favorite artists right now is a poet, filmmaker named Jason Harvey. Here is a selection from Jason Harvey's collection of poetry. Imagine a new reality-based TV show where you, the contestant, just to have sex with a big gross wet bug. The bug seems very reasonable though, like maybe you could have a relationship if you had met in a different context. So in the summer of 2016, I applied for and received a grant for a project I like to call Weird Old Sex and New Ways of Doing It. So I traveled to London, and every day I would walk to the British Library from Notting Hill, and I'd crack open some old erotica and just read about it. So I have a large collection of sex books, which kind of started from my project, but expanded way beyond that now. Penn has a prize, allegedly, for the best book collection. So I set out to win that prize, and I was like, what is the cheapest way I can win the $700? What would be the most return on my investment? Use sex books on Amazon. They're all like a cent, and yeah, some of them are kind of sticky sometimes, but I got around to actually reading some of the many I ordered, and that's actually what sparked me on my research. This is one called The Guide to Getting It On. It has chapters on literally everything and very detailed pictures and stuff. All these tabs are typos I was finding. I was gonna let the publisher know. I thought that might be helpful. This I haven't read yet. It's probably good. This is pretty dense, but there's some good essays in here. This is a part of a 3-part series. This kind of kicked off my sex book collection. I first started with the multi-orgasmic woman, and then I bought the multi-orgasmic couple, and this is the multi-orgasmic man. Really, each book has all the same stuff, they just changed the cover and the pronouns. This one's called Public Privates. It's gonna be like a history of gynecology. It's called Sex God, and it's exploring the endless connections between sexuality and spiritual. It's kind of just like very Christian propaganda. Here's the other one of the multi-orgasmic series. This is called The Technology of Orgasm, and it takes you through the history of the vibrator. Oh god, this book, I didn't make it past 10 pages of this book. See, I have a hard time picking out favorites of anything, but I think right now if I had to pick a favorite film director, contemporary, it'd probably be Angela Nee.